All right, so today we're going to be taking a look at On-In Semiconductor.
Okay.
Ticker symbol ON-N.
All right.
A company that's seen its stock drop about 25% in 2024.
Oh, wow.
We've got an article from the Motley Fool suggesting that this might actually be a prime buying opportunity.
Interesting.
What do you think? Are they onto something, or is this just wishful thinking?
Well, the article definitely paints a rosy picture.
Yeah.
But we're here to dig a little deeper and see if that optimism is actually warranted.
Right.
On Semiconductor is in the business of intelligent power and sensing technologies.
Okay.
It's the kind of components that make everything from cars to industrial machines smarter and more efficient.
Interesting.
They're especially focused on the automotive and industrial sectors.
Which is interesting because those are two areas that everybody seems to be watching right now, especially with the whole electric vehicle revolution taking off.
Exactly. Semiconductor is right in the thick of it.
Yeah.
They're known for their work with silicon carbide chips, which are crucial for making electric vehicles lighter and more efficient.
Right.
So, on the surface, you'd think they'd be riding high, but the reality is a bit more complicated.
So why the stock slump? The Motley Fool points to some market challenges, but what are they really talking about?
Well, they highlight the fact that manufacturing has been slowing down,
Okay.
and that's impacting on Semiconductor's industrial business.
Right.
One of the key indicators they use is the PMI, which has been signaling contraction since late 2022.
I see.
On top of that, you have high interest rates that are making it tougher for people to buy new cars, including electric vehicles.
And I imagine the oversupply of EVs isn't helping either. Didn't automakers ramp up production during the pandemic, assuming demand would stay strong?
That's right. They went all in on EVs, but now demand has cooled off, leaving them with a bit of a glut.
Right.
Not ideal when you're a company supplying EV components.
Yeah.
And On Semiconductor is feeling the pinch. They've seen reduced demand for their silicon carbide chips, primarily from one major customer.
Wow.
Which has impacted their revenue projections for both 2023 and 2024.
Yeah, that's got to hurt. So is this a temporary setback, or is On Semiconductor facing a more long-term problem?
Well, their CEO, Sain El-Khari, is predicting what he calls an L-shaped recovery.
Yeah.
Think of it like a graph where the stock drops sharply and then slowly crawls its way back up.
Interesting.
No quick rebound,
Right.
just a slow and gradual return to growth.
An L-shaped recovery.
Yeah.
That sounds a little ominous.
Yeah.
What are the implications of that for investors?
It means patience is key.
Okay.
You're not going to see a sudden turnaround.
Right.
So anyone investing in On Semiconductor needs to be prepared for the long haul.
I see.
But despite these challenges, the Motley Fool still believes that the company is undervalued.
Okay, so let's talk about that. They point to On-N Semiconductor's low price-to-earnings ratio, which suggests it might be a bargain. Are they grasping at straws here, or is there something to this?
Well, their PE ratio is currently sitting at 15.7 times its estimated 2024 earnings.
Right.
And on even lower, 14.6 times its 2025 earnings.
Okay.
That does seem pretty low.
Yeah.
Especially for a company that's operating in such high-growth sectors. But are we falling into a classic value trap here?
It's definitely a valid concern.
Yeah.
Just because a stock looks cheap doesn't necessarily mean it's a good buy.
Right.
But on Semiconductor's case, I think there's some compelling reasons to be optimistic.
Okay.
Remember, they're not just any semiconductor company. They're strategically positioned in the electric vehicle and industrial automation markets,
Right.
both of which are expected to grow significantly in the coming years.
But that growth seems to be happening at a snail's pace right now.
Yeah.
How can we be sure that those long-term prospects outweigh the current headwinds?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's one that each investor has to answer for themselves.
Right.
But consider this, the shift to electric vehicles and the increasing automation of industries. These are not passing fads.
Right.
These are major technological transformations that are only going to accelerate in the years to come.
Yeah.
And On Semiconductor is poised to benefit from that growth.
Okay, I see your point.
Yeah.
But even if we buy into the long-term potential, this L-shaped recovery still gives me pause.
Okay.
Aren't there other semiconductor companies out there with brighter short-term prospects?
There might be.
Okay.
But remember, investing is not just about chasing the next hot stock.
Right.
It's about identifying companies with solid fundamentals and a clear vision for the future.
Yeah.
And I think On Semiconductor ticks those boxes.
But the Motley Fool does too, don't they?
Yeah.
They seem pretty gung-ho about On Semiconductor.
Uh-huh.
But they also have a vested interest in promoting stocks.
Right.
How do we separate their enthusiasm from objective analysis?
That's a fair point. It's always wise to be skeptical of any financial advice,
Yeah.
especially when it comes from sources that profit from those recommendations.
Right.
But let's not discount their analysis entirely. They've done their research, and they've made a compelling case for why on Semiconductor might be undervalued.
Right.
Our job is to weigh that information carefully, consider other perspectives, and ultimately make our own informed decisions.
So it sounds like we're not going to get a simple yes or no answer here.
Right.
It all comes down to risk tolerance
Yeah.
and how much faith we have in ON Semiconductor's ability to navigate these choppy waters.
Yeah.
But let's shift gears for a moment
Okay.
and talk about some of the specific opportunities that ON Semiconductor is pursuing.
Right.
What are some of the key areas where they're looking to grow? Well, they're not putting all their eggs in the EV basket.
Right.
They're also making significant inroads in industrial automation,
Yeah.
which is another rapidly growing sector. Think about things like robotics, factory automation, and smart grids.
Oh.
ON Semiconductor provides the kind of intelligent power and sensing solutions that are essential for those applications.
That's right. And what's interesting is that these two sectors, EVs and industrial automation, are actually quite complementary.
Oh, okay. How so?
Well, the same underlying technologies that are driving efficiency in electric vehicles can also be applied to make industrial processes more efficient and sustainable.
Interesting.
So ON Semiconductor is well positioned to capitalize on the convergence of these trends.
So it sounds like they've got a diversified strategy,
Yeah.
which is always a good thing. But let's go back to the listener for a moment.
Okay.
If someone's hearing all this and thinking, okay, ON Semiconductor sounds interesting, but where do I even begin to evaluate this as an investment opportunity?
Right.
What are some of the key things they should be looking at?
I think one of the most important things is to understand the cyclical nature of the semiconductor market.
Okay.
There are going to be ups and downs, booms and busts. The key is to look beyond those short-term fluctuations and focus on the long-term trends. Is ON Semiconductor positioned to benefit from those trends?
Right.
Do they have the right technology, the right management team, and the right strategy to succeed in the long run?
So it's not just about looking at the current stock price or the latest earnings report.
Exactly.
It's about understanding the bigger picture
Yeah.
and assessing whether ON Semiconductor has what it takes to be a winner in this evolving landscape.
Exactly. And that requires doing your homework.
Right.
Read industry reports, follow the news, and pay attention to what analysts are saying.
Okay.
Don't rely solely on one source of information like the Motley Fool article we discussed.
Yeah.
Get a variety of perspectives and form your own conclusions.
And of course, consider your own investment goals and risk tolerance.
Right.
Not every investment is right for every investor. But I think what we've uncovered today is that ON Semiconductor is a company with a lot of potential,
Yeah.
even though it's facing some challenges in the short term. The semiconductor market is a volatile one. But those who can identify the companies that are riding the right technological waves could see significant rewards down the line.
That's a great point. And I think it highlights the importance of staying informed and being willing to dig a little deeper to uncover those hidden gems.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the greatest opportunities are found in the most unexpected places.
Well said. And on that note, we'll leave you, dear listener, to continue your own exploration of the investment world. Remember, knowledge is power, and the more you learn, the better equipped you'll be to navigate the complexities of the market. Happy investing.